Hey everyone, it's Tony George from Doc Sports Tuesday. It's been a few days, been a minute since we've done a free play video. I've been busy. We'll tell you about that in a minute. But nonetheless, we are back on Super Bowl week. We're talking about A10 college basketball action. Speaking of the Super Bowl, a couple of quick notes. The Doc's Gridiron Six Pack Show will be resurfaced tomorrow with myself and Griff Murphy, breaking down the Super Bowl on the prop bet side of things for you. Talk about the game a little bit and then prop bet. And that will be up tomorrow afternoon. So that will be the final episode for this football season of the Doc's Gridiron Six Pack, which went 65% over 100 game sample size. And we're going to give you some good props. We've only got a couple hundred to choose from. And all football cards and everything else will be out on Thursday. I'll tell you about that in a minute, how we're going to break that down, side total and props, and how you get those cards. Also, tomorrow, if you're in town, I will be down at the MGM Grand Sportsbook doing Sports Rage with Gabe Morency around 5:30, Cordell 6, live from the Sportsbook, their Sports Grid's television and radio network. I'll be sitting in talking about the Super Bowl for that as well. So if you're in town, swing down the MGM Sportsbook. Check it out. You could offer to buy me a libation. I mean, you could. You know, I may or may not accept depending on my mood. But my mood's good because the Super Bowl's here and my hometown Chiefs are in the Super Bowl as well. So, hey, well, my hometown's Lincoln, Nebraska. My adopted hometown is Kansas City, and kind of splitting time between there and Las Vegas now, which is why I've been busy. I'll tell you about that in a minute. So, nonetheless, also just a quick note, the Doc Sports Hoops Happy Hour will be back in 2 weeks. This Friday, I'll be down on Radio Row at Mandalay Bay for the Super Bowl, doing various spots with various networks that have invited me to come in and provide some insights for the Super Bowl and some picks, obviously. So we will not be doing the show this week or next week, as I'll be in Kansas City next week. I'll tell you about that in a minute. Okay, let's get to this show tonight, or this game tonight in the A10. The Dayton Flyers take to the road to take on St. Joe. Dayton's laying 1.5. They got VCU on deck. Now, I'm interested in the total here, but it's kind of a trick spot for Dayton, who's, got 3 losses on the year and rolling and only laying 1.5. That's a trap line. They got VCU on deck, the team that knocked them out of the tournament last year, the conference tournament. So they'll be looking forward to that matchup. Guarantee you. That's always a great game. But this one here, I like the over 141.5. I've got this power rated at 147, which is a 5.5 point overlay. And St. Joe's is on a hell of an overrun. Matter of fact, they're 8-2 on overs their last 10 games. Their defense is allowing 78 points per game, which is a big reason why. And Dayton's been scoring 77 a game their last 5. Matter of fact, St. Joe's at home, their last 4 games have averaged 75 points per game, and one of them they put up 82. A couple of them at 75 and 71. I think it's going to be a really competitive game tonight. It has overtime potential. And it's just one of those stories where life on the road is very difficult this time of year, even if you're the better team. Just ask Kansas from last night. I mean, I had Kansas. I know it was a tough spot after a big win at Houston, but Bill Self knows the importance of that game. His team did not play well, especially the first half of that game. But life on the road, you're in the 4th quarter of the conference season in college basketball, and nothing comes easy. Nothing. I don't care who you are. When you get on the road, and that's why a lot of teams that are better than average basketball teams sometimes miss the cut for the NCAA tournament, is the reason they can't win on the road. It's why they also have success in the NIT, because they're a higher rated team in the NIT and they get to play at home where, they've got 2 losses all year or whatever. And those are against like top rated teams. So, The March Madness tournaments obviously are a different animal than the regular season, but teams have shown their true colors. They're not winning on the road. They can't win on the road. They've got 1 or 2 wins on the road. It's pretty much going to stay true to course. And that's something you need to look at regardless of the matchup, especially when they're laying, just a word of note. But I like the over 141 in this game. I think there's going to be a lot of scoring. I can clearly see both teams in the 70s. Clearly see both teams in the 70s here. I think this number is too short. I'll go over 141 and a half in this game here in the A-10 between Dayton and St. Joe. Over at the website today, we have a 2-pack of college basketball, 7-unit card, a 4-unit NBA best bet, and the NHL fires up over 60% still in the regular season, never laying over 150. A ton of totals plays we put out. We have a totals play tonight as well to open up the second half of the NHL season. Doc Sports, free $60. Link in the description below. Follow me on Twitter. Now, we haven't done a lot of free play videos, and we're going to be short on free play videos for you next week as well, as I'll be traveling back to Kansas City. Mrs. George and I bought a house back in Kansas City. We're going to keep our place here in Las Vegas. However, we are going to be splitting time throughout the year between Kansas City and Las Vegas. Mrs. George misses home and family and friends we've known for 25 years. We like Las Vegas as well, so we're just going to have a place in both places. Splitting some time, especially during football season. I don't like 20 degrees below zero. So headed back to some good barbecue and some good friends and some familiar surroundings, as well as having our spot out here in Las Vegas. Best of both worlds. Why not? I'm getting to that point in time in my life, I want a little bit of both. So that's the reason why I've been busy with all that. So, and I'll be busy traveling next week, and we won't be that's why we're not doing the Hoops show next week, as well as this Friday, as I'm doing Super Bowl stuff down on Radio Row. So, just a quick update on Tony George, all things Tony George. Be sure and get over if you're in town, be sure and get over to MGM Grand tomorrow night around 5 o'clock. I'll be around the sports book. Come say hi.